Yo, what's up? Um, I'm gonna have a quick recap for the end of today. Like, basically not touching on Euro USD since what I am basically waiting for on this before I make it. Like, obviously, I've been looking for buys simply because we are within a range, right? And we are like the low of the range, so I wouldn't be looking for sells at this point. So, obviously, waiting for the M15 to come into this 4 hour zone and then look for buys at that point there. But since we're stuck in the range, it's kind of tough to look for buys. Then again, GPUSD still near the lows, right? Same as Euro USD. We kind of just want to look for buys. But this one is also a little bit trickier. A little bit trickier, but we do have an IPOS here. It should make this an internal high to target, right? With an internal high, if this breaks, then we start looking for the buys, simple as that. And then we touch on the infamous ESD CAD, which as things stand, I did end up taking a break even on this one. I did end up taking a break even on this one. I think it is what it is. You know, my target was 5.5 as it should have been, right? We started selling off yesterday, decided to hold on to the trade, just moved to break even, right? Sold off, came close to hitting me out at about this point here. I was like a few pips away from taking me out. Pushes higher. Once it pushes higher, I see that almost broke this, right? This tiny thing in there, I see it holding. I'm like, okay, it's probably gonna push lower. So really nothing I could have done about this specific trade. There really isn't anything I could have done because the be all and end all is just set and forget, right? Maybe I could have followed these lows, once it makes the low here. But it kind of was an off hour, as you can see, it's like right at the end of the day, right? Low liquidity times. In the morning it does push down and then try to push up, but eventually pushes down again. But there's really nothing I could have done. I had already been at break even. There isn't any great structural point, right? There is, like, for example, let's say this target was higher, right? Say the target is up here. The Then we're coming from here, right? As you can see, this is structural, right? Structural. Let's say, for example, this point here crossed the high over here, right? Breaking close of this high, then my stop can be moved below there, right? Here, there's really nothing structural wise like this where you can see clear structure where you can say, okay, they move my stop here, they move my stop here. This is, yes, a pullback, but it's not like clear structural move. Now, what you want to see is like more clear structural move. Obviously, this is like perfect structure, but you wouldn't obviously get perfect structure, but it makes a little bit more sense if it's like this structure. You can actually see if it comes here, right, breaking close, then the stop is below here, moves up, breaking close here, the stop can move down here because this is the strong low that's supposed to hold, right? You would have like probably a zone in here that's supposed to hold, which means leaving your stop below this zone over here makes sense, right? And then same thing happens if this zone let's say for example moves up here, right, break and close above, then it makes sense to move the stop right there before the target is hit. So I'm not mad at that. I think it was a pretty decent trade, right? Good idea, executed on the idea, happy on the execution. Yes, it doesn't end up being a winner, but it's fine. I think I'm happy that even through all like the emotions I was feeling through this, right, wanting to close, there really isn't any regret in there. There isn't any regret because I know that I did the right thing, right, which was to hold on to the trade. There was no structural place to place my stop loss, and it's not like I'm holding on to a trade that was a winner that will now turn to a loser. I did take a break even, right, which is okay. I think so. Overall, I think idea is good, yes, and then my execution of the plan, right, was okay as well, right? Executed the plan the way I'm supposed to, so there's really nothing much to say about it. I'm trying to think of how I feel about it now, and yeah, honestly, there's nothing to it, man. There's nothing. This happens, you know. This happens, so yeah, there's really nothing to it. In a second, I'll just kind of like go back and glance at my post-swing pro. Okay, the one thing that I actually did do wrong here that I'm realizing, which I need to do a course correction on, but I kind of remember why I did that because it's something that happened quick, right? I saw this at the moment, I was happy with it, I took it. I didn't actually do the pre-trade, um, the pre-trade check, you know, I didn't actually do it. Also, there's this structural point here on the 1 hour that maybe I could have considered a reaction from here. I did actually consider the reaction, but I didn't think that this would be enough to like give it like a deep pullback, so I kind of was okay holding through it. But it's stuff like this where like for future sake, I can now say, okay, it's a good trade, yes, but let's limit the trade to the start of the zone because it's a decent zone, right? Well, it's not a 4 hour zone, it's a 1 hour zone. It's a decent zone. Let's limit the trade to 4.1, right? Take a 4 hour trade, move on. So those are the type of things that need time and testing and actually being documented, right? Whether they work or not. Because I've been keeping like terrible track record now, I can't really go back and look and say, actually, if there's like a decent zone in my way, sometimes I do consider if there's a decent zone in my way, but I didn't really consider this like a crazy zone. So something food for thought. Just have to note this down somewhere. So yeah, we'll take it from there. See you tomorrow. Come back. Rinse and repeat. Peace.